Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News and plenty to dive into today. A major update in the Valorant world as Luminosity Gaming, the organisation behind what has been a pretty successful roster so far in the North American main event, has decided to leave Valorant entirely. Their entire roster is now restricted free agents. They're going to require another organisation to come through. Why exactly are they doing this? Is it related to the franchising system? It almost certainly is. But also still with a few words to say for Sentinels, the fact that they really don't care all that much about actually being the best team in the world, and ShahZaM gives his response to the matter. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Closing on 19k. Love to see it. First even Valorant. The second year, kind of Valorant just turned 2 years old. Congratulations, I suppose. Happy birthday. Now, I wanted to say this as well. The end of the process that comes out yesterday on the OpTic side for the Call of Duty episodes, they actually reveal they're doing kind of a process documentary for for the Valorant players that won the Masters event. Really cool stuff. OpTic generally do a great job with this type of stuff. Of course, there was no crowd, it was unfortunate, but I'm sure the way they're going to tell the story of what the players were thinking behind the scenes, the videography is always going to be phenomenal. So awesome to see stuff like this. There's been some good content going around in kind of Valorant as of late, but this type of stuff usually takes it to another level. So excited for that one for sure. Before we get into kind of the roster drama, just wanted to say a little bit on Scrimbucks actually, because as Valorant tweeted out at the end of April, 100 Thieves winning every event this year, because seemingly 100 Thieves and the Guard, relatively common scrim partners, seem to play each other rather a lot. Now Derek maybe had a pretty tough scrim as 100 Thieves up against the Guard and says Guard is winning every single event this year. Now as Valorant says in reply though, stop acting like you guys aren't 21 to 3ing us every other block of scrims. So saying that most of the time we get absolutely bodied, sometimes it's the other way around. As Asuna says, at this point it's either Trent drops 30 or I drop 30 and kind of I guess the Guard win or we win, right? So we'll see how that one goes. Of course, two solid teams, they did play each other I think the first week of the main event and it was 100 Thieves that came up with a pretty comfortable victory. But yeah, the Guard still have a fair bit of work to do if they want to get back to winning ways as they kind of were of course in the stage 1 playoffs. Now speaking of the European side real quick, Liquid apparently are looking to make a change. We saw a few days ago now they wanted to switch out their head coach, Sliggy, they want to get rid of him, potentially bring in this kind of old school French Counter-Strike player, and now Link apparently is on the chopping block. This is kind of interesting to me because I wonder if Link's kind of just a victim of poor situation really, because they've been changing a lot of things, roles, all these coaches changes, Liquid haven't really found the success they want to have, and I feel like to some degree as a result Link has kind of been underperforming a little bit where he was, let's say, this time last year, a little bit later on in the year, towards the end of last season, for example. But I still think theoretically Link is a really good player, and I think he can improve a lot of teams. So, still interesting for me to see Liquid getting rid of him, because I wouldn't necessarily say he was the issue, but maybe he was the easiest one to be on the chopping block. Soul Castle's another question there, but maybe Link is the guy going to be gone. So, rumor has it they've been practicing without him. They're going to field a substitute tomorrow in their match against Na'Vi. They're currently 2-1. So, interesting really the fact that, okay, you want to get rid of Link, but okay, you're just going to play with the sub instead of playing with the team you have some practice with, I suppose, to try and get through, because 2-1 is it's obviously pretty precarious still. If you're going 2-3, you're probably not going to make the winners bracket, right? So very interesting stuff. We'll see if Liquid confirm these changes over the coming days, but that probably is going to kick off something in the EMEA region, right? Because Link is certainly a player that I think should be valuable on the free agent market if Liquid do decide to get rid of him. They are of course 2-1 here, so they play Na'Vi, I'm guessing later on today, so we'll see if they actually do decide to bring in a substitute or whatever the situation is for that. They do have a rather nice map win-loss here, right? So even if they do end up 2-3, there might be a chance they still make it anyway. But yeah, Link gone is certainly an interesting one. These of course are the games just to mention real quick for this weekend. Gen.G 2, Na'Vi, Liquid going on tonight. Obviously massive games. Gen.G 2 is huge as well actually in this kind of group A, because right now Ascend 2-1, G2 1-2. G2 need to win that if they want a chance to get to the top of the bracket effectively, going into of course the playoffs of the event. Now Luminosity Gaming, let's dive into this. They've been looking pretty good for the playoffs in the North American side. They then confirmed yesterday the following. We heard a little bit ago some drama about the fact that LG or Enthusiast Gaming that own Luminosity lost a lot of money. The shareholders weren't happy with some of the decisions that were being made. Maybe that had some sway on them deciding effectively to just step away from Valorant. Crazy timing, right? To be perfectly honest, I imagine the timing coincides rather nicely with maybe what some of the teams have been discussing with right behind the scenes in terms of the kind of pseudo franchising era that might seemingly is coming in for next season. But as LG say, today we wanted to share with the community that we have made the difficult decision to exit Valorant for the foreseeable future. Luminosity remains passionate about esports. We aim to continue to compete for championships and every other esport we participate in. Exiting Valorant is not an easy decision for us. We look forward to Riot's upcoming structure for 2023, and we do not rule out the opportunity to participate in Valorant esports again down the road. Interesting statement really, because if they were going to be a part of Riot's plans for next season, they surely would have stayed. Probably Riot were yeah, not going to happen, or maybe their finances are too suspect right now, and therefore they're stepping out. So interesting statement I thought, to be honest, but more than likely this is to do with the franchise era that's upcoming upcoming, and they probably know a fair bit about what it's going to look like and how many teams might well get involved. As they say, moving forward, we aim to find a new home for our talented roster in which they can continue to compete together for many years to come. Doubt a team is going to last years, but we'll see how it goes. The team for now is going to compete under the Luminosity banner still, unless of course someone buys them out in the meantime. So as Marta says, LG, Valorant, including staff, are now restricted free agents. So all the players, all the kind of, well, ghost coaches, all this type of stuff, it's all gone. And well, now for restricted free agents, right? Keeping our roster and staff together is incredibly important to us, vital to the long-term success of this team. All inquiries can be directed to, etc., etc. So another org could come in, pick these guys up, but only really if they feel like they have a good chance, this new organization, of getting into the franchise side. Because the fact of the matter is, like, if you're not selected as one of the partner teams for Riot next season, then why would you put this money in when you're just going to be sidelined next year? So I think LG might have realized that early and just jumped ship, which is maybe bad for their players, but from a financial perspective, maybe makes a fair bit of sense to it. And as Valen says, franchising moment, right? Due to the kind of franchising system that's coming in now, like, only certain teams are going to be selected to be part of the proper leagues. Like, this is the type of stuff that's going to start happening, honestly, more and more often. And the fact that LG stepped out at this particular moment is rather interesting, but it's probably something that should be expected to continue. Now, as George Geddes points out, actually, the fact that Enthusiast lost around $8.6 million in Q1, and like, apparently the organization knows probably that Riot doesn't want to look at organizations and to partner with organizations that have finances quite like that and don't have the stability to stay as a partner organization for many years. So maybe LG realized that it's time to go, and then as George Geddes even says, I feel like FaZe will be next to go due to a similar situation. So saying that FaZe probably will not be a part of the franchise side next year. They might just get their team out of there already over the coming months after doing all this rebuild work they did the last few months. So we shall see on that one. Now, just some ideas on who might actually get into this system, because the rumor had it a few days ago, there's only going to be 10 teams per regional league, one of which is just for the Americas, one of which is EMEA, one of which is just Asia, right? So if there's 10 organizations only in the Americas, and you've got to think that at least 3 or 4 of those are going to be from South and kind of Latin America, then you're going to get 6-7 orgs from North America, and like, probably OpTic are going to be there, 100 Thieves, Cloud9, like, who knows what's going to happen with the likes of the Guard, XZ, version 1 TSM, like NRG, like, TSM wants to get it. Sentinels as well, of course, is worthy of discussion here, just because, like, of course, massive brands, but, do they necessarily have the kind of structure of the organization behind it, like the sponsorship revenue, this type of stuff that other organizations do? So I wonder what they will think about really from the Riot perspective. And even as Bodok says, right, rumor has it, this is not the only team who might be dropping their roster very soon indeed. So we shall have to stay tuned. Massive story, no doubt. And like, who knows what's going to happen next year, right? As Marta says, highest ranked free agent team. So hoping everything works out for them. But the issue is, I'm not really sure, like, which organization is going to come pick these guys up, unless an organization that comes to is very confident they're going to get into the partnership program, because if they don't, then it's just a straight up waste of money at the end of the day, right? So really difficult situation that, but eventually, like, when things franchise, casualties do come, and whether it's LG as an organization, whether it's the players, we shall see. But it's just one of those things that unfortunately does happen. Now, of course, as B-Dog says as well, like, what a player he's been for them. Of course, well, he basically echoes the same thing as Sinatraa says, good luck. So we'll see how that goes. But this is a nice little transition here into the Sentinels situation, because, there was a lot of talking points on that coming out last night. So Thorin does this kind of episode right here. It's like in, 2 hours or so thing, with Steel on the show and Geometrics there as well. And he brings up rather a spicy question with regard to the Sentinels situation, why he thinks that they're kind of falling short. Are they kind of lacking the practice hours that other teams are putting in? And he effectively says, yeah, that's how I see it. They really don't try as hard as they could do. Like, if you look at their hours that they're logging on stream and stuff, they're streaming an awful lot compared to a lot of other teams. And then he goes on to say, basically what he's heard on the grapevine is that some players just, wouldn't wake up in time for scrims and stuff like this, and therefore, like, they would have to cancel scrims for a load of different teams. Just not a good look for everyone involved.
People don't know, in CSGO, Steel and ShahZaM, not the best of friends, some would even say, maybe ShahZaM's a bit of an arsehole, and on occasion, to the right sort of person. I want to know, is there still any tension there in that regard? What do you think of Sentinels? The fact that, like, to me, they seem like the opposite of your type of a team. They look like a team that doesn't really seem like they give a about agility or coaching, and they're just trying to play the game.
It's hard to know for sure about, like, what they do in the game. It feels like, and from, like, all perspectives, it looks like they don't give enough of it. And, whether that be, because they haven't had, like, the proper staff, like coaches or anything, maybe they couldn't find the right coach. You got to play devil's advocate or something. I feel like they don't care as much because they have way too many hours logged on stream. And when they do have scrims, not everyone's awake for the scrims, so they have to cancel a lot. And this is just like, from talking to other people, other pros that, have games scheduled against them that are like, someone slept in again. So it's it's hard for me to say that they are trying as like giving as much of a about the pro stuff as much as they could be.
So of course Steel and ShahZaM, they're not necessarily the best of friends, let's say back in the Counter-Strike days, but ShahZaM really, like, he can't help just when he sees a situation like this, ShahZaM can't help just putting a response out there. A couple of responses actually. The first one was this, that was since deleted. Why are people still angry about me streaming? I cut down my hours by 30% this year just to focus on competing, but it seems like I can't win this conversation. Everyone makes up numbers, even Steel is claiming we don't care, yet does more hours streamed than all of us this month, which is an interesting claim really, just because Steel and T1 are out of the qualifiers, right? They're out of the main events. So, he doesn't necessarily have to be, like, focusing on competing at the moment and can just stream, right? So I thought it was an interesting statement. Like, as I say, ShahZaM just can't help himself responding, it seems. And this also, because, the thread right here on the Reddit, I feel like they don't care as much as they have. Way too many hours logged on stream, kind of what we looked at. Not everyone is awake for scrims. He does kind of address this issue, as he says, we had one player during stage 1 that was going through a lot of serious personal stuff and had trouble sleeping. It's true that we cancelled 2 or 3 scrims during that period because of him. That hasn't happened during stage 2. The org was involved to help him and also help keep him accountable, right? So not exactly sure who that is. Of course, you guys can feel free to speculate, but I think it's good that we get the clarification there from ShahZaM that he says, look, the whole idea of us missing scrims and sleeping in and stuff, that wasn't necessarily due to just kind of not caring enough, but it was due to kind of personal difficulties and issues that were going on for one of our players behind the scenes. So thought it was good to get the clarification there, but I still feel like it's likely that Steel still has a point on this issue, right? And a lot of pros have echoed this sentiment, right, the last several months, right, that, as Steel is kind of saying, he's held on the grapevine. Other players as well, maybe it was FNS or someone have kind of indicated that if there's one team in North America that doesn't practice or doesn't take things as serious as others do, it's probably Sentinels. So yeah, definitely intrigued your perspective on that one in the comment section below. Of course, this upcoming week is massive for them. They play tomorrow. Sick is not going to be back. Raucus is going to be there instead of ZOMS, as we looked at yesterday. Well, ZOMS kind of asked to play or offered to play, and they effectively said no, got Raucus in instead. Will TenZ be back? That, of course, is a key factor if they want to actually qualify, because right now they have the lowest round win percentage in the North American VCT entirely. They're right down here at the bottom, just past NRG, and yes, certainly not going to get too much easier for them with the substitute situation. These are the games going on today. Guard versus XSET tonight, Evil Geniuses OpTic, both big games. Group A, especially the Guard XSET game, is absolutely massive, and Sentinels play FaZe tomorrow, and kind of these are the current group standing, right? So OpTic EG, that's big as well. If OpTic win that, of course, they're guaranteed. I'm pretty sure they're guaranteed to get through to the playoffs regardless, but Evil Geniuses 2-1, a big series. OpTic probably should edge it, and then XSET versus the Guard is absolutely massive, right? Because if XSET win, that's 3-1, but the Guard need this one kind of to even up the playing field at 2-2, and then we can get some absolutely ridiculous tiebreaker scenarios on the horizon. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button. I told you, YouTube God, this is a good video. Others like you should see it as well, and I've grown the competitive VALORANT community. Thank you very much as always. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.